Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So today we are going to talk a little bit about wilderness first aid. Now, that's one of the things that we really don't talk about on the channel. We really haven't explored. I know other people have in the past, but you really don't hear about it when it comes to overlanding. Are you guys equipped and ready to handle an emergency in an event it happens? What kind of equipment are you running? What kind of emergency gear are you running? And that's what we're going to talk about in this video today, so stay tuned. So today we're going to talk about some of the first aid needs that you're going to want to have for your overlanding rig, as well as some of the skills you're going to want to obtain. Now, this is the first of 7 weeks that we're going to be doing, and this is the series of how to become a better overlander. First one we're really going to talk about and dive into is first aid, because really, when you're on the trails and you're out overlanding in remote areas, you're not going to have a lot of area to go and have emergency help to help you out. So this is where you're going to need to learn some skills. So let's talk a little bit about some of this. So the term overlanding really hasn't changed anything about how we've actually done this. This has been a huge thing since we ever remember. So when they had the Oregon Trail and they were crossing there, they were overlanding. When they were doing all this other stuff, as you grow up and you were camping, that's still overlanding. It's just taken a new term of how people look at it. So this is the same thing as car camping, camping, whatever term you guys want to use for it. I know the new niche right now is overlanding, but we're going to talk a little bit about what you guys can do to be prepared for a first aid in an emergency situation. So we actually went out and bought 3 different kits. Now this kit here we originally had, this one here has been in the Bronco forever. It's just kind of a basic kit that we had. And then we bought these 2 here, which one's a trauma kit and then one's actually going to be our Basecamp kit that has some specialty stuff into it. But we're going to talk a little bit about some of that stuff here in the next few minutes. This here, I've done some searches and I've seen that people have talked about first aid, but it seems like it always takes a side seat when it comes to overlanding. The biggest thing I can't express enough is you guys have to be prepared for an emergency. So if you guys are not prepared, where if something happens, whether you guys have enough gauze, whether you have band-aids, whatever the basic needs are going to be for you to get to a situation where you can actually be safe, you really should start evaluating that. That's kind of what we're talking about today. Safety. Do you guys have a first aid kit in your vehicle? If you do not, then you probably should look into that, and hopefully this video will help you guys. If you do, what do you have in there? What do you guys have prepared for when you guys are out in an emergency? Let us know down in the comments down below. We really like some engagement on this because we want to try to work with people and get people involved with this 7-week How to Become a Better Overlander series that we're building out for everybody. So we want to know about it. What do you guys have in your vehicles? What do you guys run? Why do you run it? Why do you have that kind of stuff? What kind of skills and training have you guys taken so that you guys can become that better overlander? So for us, we weren't that great. I'm not going to lie. We had 1 kit. That's this one here. This kit here was just a basic kit that we put out there. We used this to basically just have some band-aids, some gauze, some ointment, and just basically just a small, we call it the BooBoo Kit. This here is just if you get a scratch, you get a cut, something that's not major. This kit here will do that kind of stuff. We have gauze, we have band-aids, all the kind of stuff that you're going to really need for just a basic situation. If you guys are out hiking, whether you guys are overlanding, out in the woods, this is the kind of kit that you're going to need. So let's talk about the BooBoo Kit. So the reason we call this BooBoo Kit is because we have kids. If you guys have kids and you know this, the first thing they do is when they get a cut, scrape, even the smallest thing, they scream like they're going to lose their arm, and then they want a band-aid. So of course we have band-aids. It's got some tape, it's got Q-tips, gauze, scissors, tweezers, pretty much all the basic stuff you're going to need for doing stuff. This is for like a mouth-to-mouth. You basically put it over the person's kind of mouth area, and then you can blow into it to help do CPR. But it's all the basic stuff you're going to need. Some alcohol swabs, safety pins, scissors, emergency blanket, all the kind of stuff that you're going to need just for the basic emergency stuff. And that's what this one here is. My kids know what this one is. We keep this one in the back of the Bronco, and then we'll be adding the other 2 to our list of emergencies. And like I said, we're probably going to keep those all in one location so they're centralized. So this is the Basecamp kit. This kit here will basically be everything you're going to need where you're not going to have to cut your trip short. That's going to be in the event like you sprain your ankle, you got some stuff that you can kind of patch up until you guys can get back to wherever you're going to, the mainland or civilization, wherever you're out doing overlanding with. It's not going to cut your trip short. Now this one here is going to be the Basecamp one. I have identified this one with the American flag and the red icon as the Basecamp one that we're going to use for when we're at base. I've had thought about putting this in the trailer, but I'm not quite sure yet. Also comes with scissors, Q-tips, but it comes with a knife. It also comes with this here, which can be used as a splint to kind of keep your arm from moving, but it gives you instructions on how to use that. It also comes with more gauze, more tape, emergency blanket, but this one here is more just, it's geared towards, as you see, it's got the same, like I said, these all are going to have similar things, so it all depends on what you're looking for out of them. A breathing apparatus for you to do CPR. It's got a tube over here. The emergency dressing kit here that helps when you apply pressure. It's got some information here, and we don't know how to use any of this stuff yet because we are still new to this, but we are going to learn how to use this and what each function of these are going to be used for. We do know some basic stuff as far as like the splint here. You put that on there, tape it all up. It kind of keeps your finger from your fingers and your arms moving. More gauze to kind of wrap stuff, alcohol pads. But as you see, this one here doesn't have like band-aids. It doesn't have some of the applicator pads that you would need. It's got some alcohol wipes and stuff, but it doesn't have any type of band-aids or anything. But that's why we kind of have this one here too, so that we got another one incoherent with this one here for what we're going to need it for. So let's move on to the trauma kit. So now this one here is going to have a little bit different. It's still going to have the splint that you can use. It's got the gauze. It's got some of the other stuff, white alcohol pads, white pads, all that kind of stuff. Still no band-aids in this one either. But it does come with like some emergency bandages. I'm not sure how this works yet, but we are going to look into this. It looks like a compression system. It's got a tube that actually, if you need to, you can actually put this down into somebody's throat. To help kind of give them airway or give them passage for airway in the event something tragic. We got this here, which is a tourniquet. This is what we were talking about. Even though you can use a belt and all that other stuff, it's always good to have an actual kit that has that kind of stuff. Of course, we got scissors and some of the other items that we would need in case of emergency. So, like I said, these are all very simple ones, but just do some research on this kind of stuff before you just go out there with just one kit and not have some of this. So as you can see, each one of these kits here are going to be all pretty much similar into what they have. Now, these two kits are not going to have as much Band-Aid and other stuff as the actual BooBoo Kit that we call here, but that's why we purchased these ones here, because they have a few more. You could actually probably reduce it down by just having this kit here, the trauma kit that we're going to call it with the Rhino Rescue. So we might actually pack it down so we just got two. Basically this kit here, which is going to be our BooBoo for the Band-Aids, and then this kit here, which is going to be our Basecamp / trauma. In the event something ever happens, we'll basically condense this pack down here into one of these two here to kind of reduce down how much we're taking, because of course space is a commodity when it comes to overlanding. Now the reason we're talking a little bit more about this is also, so if you aren't aware, there's actually classes out there that you guys can take. If you guys are looking to grow your skills for some sort of medical attention to help out others or yourself, in the event you guys are out hiking and doing different things, you really should look into like a CPR class locally. You guys can usually check out like local hospitals and that kind of stuff. They offer that kind of stuff as far as what type of class you look for. They also have this wilderness program. It's a wilderness first aid. And I'll put a link down in the description down below for you guys that actually links you guys and gets you guys set up with classes where you guys can go learn about all the different packs that you guys can have. We're actually signed up. We're going to be going doing that class here soon. And we'll bring back some more information on what we find after we do this 7-week series of how to become a better overlander. You know, like for us, when we looked into it, we really thought that we only needed one pack. And I know a lot of people say you do. And for us, we didn't want to take that chance. We're out in remote areas. We do have some stuff, but we didn't have any type of tourniquet to basically stop the bleeding and kind of put something on. I know you can use a belt. I know you can use other things, and there's improvisation. And I know you can improvise. But at the end of the day, I'd rather be safe than sorry. So for us, when people look at this, and we've identified this a little bit better. So basically, this one here is just going to be the basic one. It's going to be the Bronco, just the medical one. The red one here is going to be the Basecamp one. That's kind of why we have this. And then the plus one here for the Rhino, that's going to be the trauma kit. And that's how I'm going to train people, because when my kids get in the back, they always see this pack here. So they all know exactly where my medical kit is in the event something ever happens while we're out trailing. That's going to be probably the same thing. I was talking about that. I wasn't sure, but now that I'm thinking about it, I really probably should put these all three in the same spot so that they're all centrally located to one location. People know where they're at, not including just myself and my wife and my kids, but other people that are at base camp. If I tell them it's in the back seat if it's in the back seat, all they got to do is open the door, bam, it's right there. So super simple for them, basically pull it off the seat, bring it out, do what they need to try to help attend people, or myself, or whatever comes out there. You don't know what can happen out there. When it comes to like snake bites and everything else, make sure you guys know your surroundings. Know what kind of reptiles and what type of animals you're going to encounter. You can encounter bears, you can encounter snakes, you can encounter a lot of different things that can be deadly to you if you guys are not careful. We're down in the south here, and there's actually some rattlesnakes down here, and we're doing some research and finding out what to look for. And you know, we really want to be more aware of our surroundings when we go out. One thing that nobody really talks about is first aid. I want to bring that kind of stuff back out to you guys and really talk more about that kind of stuff and bring it to the forefront of what you guys should be thinking about, because yes, YouTube's great. YouTube's going to show us all the great things that you can do out there, all the beautiful scenery and all the great locations you can go visit and take footage and do all sorts of really cool stuff. We've done it. But it doesn't talk about the behind the scenes of what you need to do to get there. That's what we're going to do with this stuff. We're going to basically, like this first season, our first episode, we're going to talk a little bit about this stuff. And that's why we want to do that. We want to bring awareness to you guys. So at the end of the day, you guys are more well prepared when you go out on the trails and you guys are overlanding in remote areas where you don't have cell phone signal. You don't have cell phone signal. Make sure you got some sort of form of communication, whether you got Starlink if it works in the area, or you have a sat communicator or some sort of device to communicate with the outside world in the event. And also make sure your family and loved ones know where you are at. Put a plan together. Make sure they also you don't deviate from that plan, because when you deviate from that plan, it makes it really hard to track you if something does happen and you can't communicate with people. So you really think about some of those things when you guys are going out there. We got a few more episodes that are going to be coming out, and the episodes are going to be outlined with different equipment that you should have for your Overlander, not just for the first aid. First aid, I wanted to break it up into its own thing to kind of give you guys a little bit more information. But also we're going to talk about different things you should do with your vehicle when it comes to making sure it's ready. Is the oil ready? Is coolant and fluids really good? Make sure you guys are checking and doing regular maintenance on your vehicle, because when you're going out and hitting the trails and doing different things, you are putting a lot of wear and tear on your vehicles. And I know it doesn't seem like a lot because it's capable of doing it, yes, but you still got to care for it. You still got to take care of it and make sure that it's ready to go for your next adventure, so that it keeps you guys going and keeps you going to the next place, and so on and so forth, so you can continue to enjoy these moments, whether you're doing it for yourself, whether you're doing it with your family and whatnot, or trying to teach a skill to one of your kids or whatever. So I hope this video was really useful for you guys. If it was, please subscribe. All you gotta do is hit the subscribe button down below. Help us out. That's what helps keep the channel going. We're going strong right now. We're pretty close to 2,000. I'm really trying to hit that 2,000 followers by the end of the year, or maybe even middle of January. If you guys are liking this stuff, we have this 7-week course that we got. The next week that we're going to be doing is logistics and planning. Different things that you guys really should look into, whether you need some sort of map, whether you have a Gaia or Onyx off-road, or even traditional paper maps. That would be a good solution as a fail-safe. In the event something ever happened, then you would have some sort of map to be able to get around. And then planning for your trip. What are you guys going to need for the trip, where you guys are going, your surroundings, clothing, all the kind of stuff that we can talk about in the next week. So hope you guys like this video. Aloha.